morning and welcome to the second weekend of Super League Live, and we are here up in Leeds for a double-header action in the Mari Women's Super League. First of all, we'll see the host Leeds Gorse take on the Durham Palatinates, and then later on this afternoon we'll see Dark Star Derbyshire host London Lionhearts. Michael Huntsmars and Shiloh with you for this week. And Shiloh, the exciting thing about the Women's Super League this year has been every team can beat every team, and it's so competitive, and these are two teams trying to get into the top four.
Absolutely. Leeds are 5th and Durham are 6th in the table right now, so as you mentioned, it's a very competitive league, and we've just seen Durham lost 3-0 yesterday against Mallory, and it's just an extremely competitive teams, and both of these teams vying for a top 4 spot for April, so yeah.
As we see both teams enter the court to start the official warm-up phase. As you said, both teams 4 and 3 in the league coming in, so nearly halfway through the regular season as we approach the Christmas break. And Leeds Gorse coming in off the back of a 3-0 victory over Dark Star last week. And as Charlotte said, Durham on a double-header weekend down in South London against Mallory Eagles, arguably the league favourites at the moment. They fell 25-23, 25-17 and 25-22 Jefferson Williams side. And they will try and bounce back here in Leeds. And Charlotte, will start by talking about the visitors from Durham. Obviously, a lot of injuries early in the season, so we haven't quite seen the true potential of this roster, but they are the reigning champions, and we know they're not going to lie down.
Yeah, absolutely. Durham has been, one of the powerhouses in volleyball for quite a while, and as you said, they've had quite a turnover in their squad, lots of newcomers, and of course injuries have hindered some of their games this year. But yeah, they're coming into form now in the season, and yeah, getting some new players in here.
Indeed, and we'll talk about the roster in a little bit a minute, but with the Durham injuries, they've had a lot of players playing out of position early in the season, but nearly at full strength, just one more left to come back into the rotation, and it'll be important for Durham just to get some momentum going off the road early on. But obviously when you look at Durham roster, having the championship team last year, important, but every year with the university set up a new group, and it takes so much time to bed in. So what have you kind of seen early on from this Durham side?
I think this Durham, they have a lot of strong players, as you mentioned, a lot of them coming from overseas as well. But yeah, it's just taking time to, build that setter-hitter connection and build a chemistry within the team. And as you said, so many players have been playing out of position, which just kind of shows how versatile all the players are, extremely skillful. And yeah, it's just about how they build that chemistry, and then with that build the momentum. They've had 3 wins and 4 losses, so haven't really found that consistency just yet, but as the season goes on and the players start to blend in and everything, this is always a Durham side to fear.
Indeed, and obviously their experienced coaching staff as well, and you can just see warming up there the middle, Claire Kasani, one of the strongest middles in the league, leading the team in multiple areas, but including the service line. And obviously for middles to have serving success, we saw issues last week in Crystal Palace with the middles, but how important is it when you've got a middle that can be dynamic from the service line as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Even though the middles only play 4 rotations, if you include serving, it's a testament for them to not only be behind that service line and get those serves over, but also to defend as well. As you mentioned, Claire Costerini, one of the just been named Player of the Month for the Mari Super League, and number 1 in blocks, number 5th in attack right now. Yeah, just another great middle that's proven that she can play an all-round game. And
on to, of course, our host here, Leeds Gorse. Elaine Brown said the season expectation was, can they make top 4? Obviously fell 3-0 to Essex on opening weekend, but this Leeds team has bounced back really well and playing some really good volleyball. And the Leeds team, a mix of youth and experience. We'll talk about the youth in a little bit, but every time you look at the Leeds lineup, it always goes in one direction, which is obviously Ava Borrowdale, our feature player of the week as well, for the preview. And obviously one of the best hitters in the league, but also the height and just her versatility. that she gives this Leeds team.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the tallest players in the league, and the absolute versatility, having that height but still being able to defend and obviously attack and block, makes that really helpful. Sixth in attack, and also third in serving right now with 12 aces already this season. Coming strength to strength. Originally from Sheffield, and gone to America for some high level of volleyball, and then I've come back here and proven an asset to this Leeds team.
Yeah, Ava Borrowdale with 72 kills on the season, coming in, averaging 12 a game, leading the league in actual total kills, a little bit low in hitter percentage, but someone that's high volume. But we talk about that and that experience, but obviously we have to talk about the youth of this Leeds side as well. The youngest team in the league in terms of playing players under 18, 2 will start in this opening 7, and obviously in Daniela Tashandu and Perfection. Just what have you seen from the Leeds kind of core to give the younger players this experience and the confidence to come out and play?
Yeah, I think absolutely. Many of these players would have come up from their youth ranks, and just to be able to mesh in well, to have that, not only the skill set, but like you mentioned, the confidence, and then to blend in and not being, scared of all these other, more experienced players, just shows a testament to, the group that they're building. And absolutely, having the young players in adds a lot of, just makes into the blend, a different level of playing and different, something we're new to seeing.
Yeah, and obviously this Leeds team trying to make the step into the top 4, but they're playing some really good volleyball. Obviously dropped their last big home game against Team Side out 3-0, but that's kind of been a blip in the radar for this Leeds team. And they've already taken a 3-2 victory here at Gorse Academy against London Lionhearts, who right now are just in that 4th spot, so that will give some confidence. But with this game, both teams really almost a must-win in trying to get into that top 4 with how competitive it is.
Absolutely, like you said, every team can beat any team, and these are 2 teams that have gone strength to strength. So, lots of surprises that I'm sure we'll see.
Yeah, indeed, as both teams still complete the warm-up. Obviously, we were down at Crystal Palace for the Ignore Super League Live last week, the kind of London pod with victories for the Mallory Eagles and the Richmond Docklands. And this is the first time we'll see the Mari Women's Super League in action. Our next visit will be to the Essex Sport Arena in the new year, as we bring you more and more coverage of Super League this year here with the Volleyball England side, as we just get the starting rosters in for both teams here up in the commentary booth. And the big person really for Durham coming in, someone that snuck onto the roster last week behind the radar a little bit, but our player to watch in Malaya Stanton, obviously was part of that Durham title winning side last year, has chosen to remain in the northeast of the country, and having done some training with this Durham squad, was convinced by the head coaches to come back into lineup. But how important is that for Durham to bring a player like Malaya in, who's obviously got that championship pedigree experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody that not only has that experience, winning that championship, but also who knows this team well. And, as we mentioned, lots of new faces, new signings into a team. You want to get that familiarity and that blend of players. Yeah, just brings a lot, especially, being a setter, being in the center of the game to control that offense. That's absolutely valuable for this Durham team.
Yeah, and we're obviously just trying to get back into the rotation and just get herself sorted. It looks like she'll have a little bit of versatility as well, obviously with this Durham roster with numerous options, so we might see Stanton play a little bit of outside as well. We'll see her as she's currently back on the service line. And as for Leeds, we obviously talked about the youth, but we need to talk about Perfection, the 15-year-old, obviously winning the national championship last season at under 15 level, but really she just comes in and plays so fearlessly for this Leeds team, leads the way in So second in team in kills at 40, obviously having missed a couple of games early on and high volume. And the one thing she does, you talk about the offense, but her defense as well, leading the team in blocks with 11.
Absolutely. And just to think that she's only 15, you know, born in 2009. What were we doing at that age? She's like been such a valuable player to this team, and you know, being both as you mentioned in the offense and in defense. Yeah, and a player, you know, that's fearless, that's not afraid to, you know, go up for the kill, go up for the block. And yeah, for someone that's that age, the absolute skill, technicality, but also just confidence to be able to play at this level.
Yeah, and we'll definitely see a lot of her in action as we are just finishing warm-ups here at the Ruth Gorse Academy here in Leeds to bring you opening day. Make sure you let us know your thoughts and comments in the YouTube chat as well. We'll keep an eye on that here from the commentary booth and talk about some of those as the game goes. But Shiloh, just talk about right now this game. Where do you think the key is going to be for either side?
Ooh, I think this game will probably be based on offense. You know, both teams with lots of experience and very effective hitters. I think that this is going to be important, you know, to face up being that aggression at the net and that just ruthlessness in attack.
Indeed, as we just get the confirmed starters for the teams, we'll obviously introduce them to the court in a second as some of the Dark Star Derbyshire players have just walked in the gym. Obviously, Dark Star and Leeds faced off last week in Nottingham. As Dark Star come in rested against a Lionhearts team who had a double header, having completed a game yesterday at the University of Nottingham, beating Nottingham 3-1. We'll talk about that later as both teams about to make their way onto court for official entrances. And we'll bring you those in a second. The other thing, Shiloh, obviously this Leeds team, the one kind of weakness we've kind of seen on tape a little bit is the serve receive. And obviously talking to Elaine Brown earlier, it's something you said that's obviously constantly improving. They've obviously had a little bit of struggles at times. So how important is it for Leeds to come out and just be really solid in the first few points, just trying to get the serve receive unit up and being able to really set up their offense?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, the serve receive is how you start a play, and without a good pass, you're not going to get a good set and not a good kill. So, you know, it's so important for them to just have that composure and just to start off strong, you know, give the setter a nice high pass for them to be able to set up the offense. So, yeah, that's going to be something Leeds is going to work on, you know, especially with strong servers on the Durham side as well. So, yeah.
As we see, a referee's just been introduced today. We've got Joseph Gore and Lenny Barry on the call for this opening game, as both starting groups going to come out. So for Durham, they will start number 9, their captain, Alexandra Letko. Number 6, Tyler Kutri. Number 8, Daphne Sinar. Number 13, their middle, Claire Kasani. Number 3, we've already talked about it, Malaya Stanton. And number 10, Jamie Daly. And obviously their libero, Caroline Belmontes. And for Durham, obviously, coming in, we've already talked about Kasani a little bit, but they've got some depth in this lineup, obviously getting people back into position as well. So it'll be really important for them to kind of establish different options outside of Kasani, because teams have started to just slowly kind of settle in on that. Obviously, your player of the month from October. As for Leeds, they are going to start, obviously, their captain, number 9, Alyssa Ganero, and she'll be joined by number 6, Ava Borodell, number 8, Perfection, number 13, is someone not on our team list, so we will need to double check Oh, I've gone my apologies, I've written down the wrong number. That's probably why I've gone the completely wrong way. Number 18, their setter, is Molly Ann Van Essen. And number 2 in the middle, Holly Tempest. And of course, libero, number 10, Misha Kalanova. As looks like both teams are about ready to go. And it'll be Leeds to open up. So Molly and Van Essen back to serve. As we're ready for Super League Live here in Leeds. Mari Women's Super League action, as both these teams try and get to 2 games above 500 and make a push for the top 4. As Ava Borrowdale is going to make the call on set. We are underway here at the Ruth Gorse Academy. Low serve, Durham just about get it over, not the prettiest, and Leeds will set up and cross court, and that's why you can see the athleticism of perfection on the back set, and a great start for our player of the game for Leeds.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you mentioned, you know, Leeds starting off strong with that kill from perfection. As we said, just 15 years old.
That was a good serve by Van Essen. This time goes a little bit long on it. And Durham will get the side out and move over. Van Essen, the lead server, the best server on this Leeds team, leads away with 16 aces, but also up in error count. As Durham will get the first service opportunity. Borrowdale goes with the tip. Well picked up by Stanton, but Kasani can't quite get there. And a first good side out by Leeds. And that's the experience of Borrowdale, knowing the difference with swinging tips, and obviously got experience out in the States, and you can kind of see that on that opening possession as she goes back to serve. Goes down the line, well handled by Durham, perfect pass, give and go, but Borrowdale there to read. She'll have to recycle it over.
Ooh.
And into the net on the slide.
Yeah, like we said, the same again from Borrowdale, just that cheeky little tip, you know, knows how to adjust to the set when she needs to.
As the Leeds crowd making some noise, supporting their hometown team. As another slide attempt, and that time finished. No mistake on the second time of asking.
Let's watch this again. You know, the first time it didn't work quite well, but, you know, to have the confidence for both the setter and the middle to continue with that play, and this time it pays off.
And obviously something we saw last year down the championship run for his Durham side. Durham side was using the slider lots. And Kasani obviously not here last year, but able to do it as the ball goes up. That stays in play, but it's going to be a really tough angle for Daly. She'll get it over Kalanova. One-handed set by Van Essen. Good defense by Durham. And Kalanova can't quite get to the Daly swing, and Durham will tie us up at 3 points apiece. But really nice work on the backline by Belmontes just to dig it out, and was just about found the gap in the roof as well to keep the ball in play.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the composure there for the team to, you know, still keep up with the play.
Kalanova, Van Essen, and the cross court. I think Daly got a little bit of the ball on the right hand, but couldn't keep it up, and a strong start for the youngster. 2 quick points. She moves on to 42 kills in this season in just 17 sets. As again the slide, this time the tip over by Kosarani. And right now Durham attack's only going in one direction, and it's going to be up to that Leeds blocking unit to challenge that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, even though they keep going with the middle, they found ways to use different adjust to the set, and, you know, not just have a hard swing every time.
Free ball for the Palatinates off the serve. Another slide attack off the top of the net. Recycle by Leeds. Borrowdale from the back line. Overpass on defense. And Leeds will set up and go down the line. Another huge swing.
And let's see this again. We've seen two cross shots from the opposite, and this time she goes for the line, you know, just changing up in the offense and giving Durham something else to work with.
And a little bit of frustration, no doubt, by Paul Welsh and Durham side. Couple of overpasses on that possession. This time, another one off the serve, and Deshandu tries to tip it, but just pushes it wide. Good attempt, but not quite the execution she wanted.
Yeah, very great idea there, you know, just to try to swipe that off the hands. Unfortunately, this time it was just wide.
So Malaya Stanton back to serve. Long set, would look like they were going to go middle, but the swing by the captain, Gennaro, goes over the baseline. And Durham have the first lead of the game, 6 points to 5. But Van Essen just changing it up. And good offense by Leeds, but again, not quite the execution Elaine Brown will want. But they'll have a chance to right it here as Van Essen goes behind Owagbo from the back line. No good, and Durham will have to give it up. A fake slide, and Owagbo from the back, but Durham able to recycle it. Cross court, Daly has a huge point for Durham. Just when Leeds looked like they had everything they wanted.
Here's the replay, and you see that decoy the middle makes, and you know that really tough swing from Daly from the outside, and it was just too much of an angle.
And obviously you really want the opposite net to come off as Van Essen can't get there, so Leeds will go. Gennaro goes aggressive from the back row, tries to go middle on the tip, and Leeds able to run it, but into the block.
Gennaro, and it was just out wide.
Yeah, it was Kutri with the initial block, and Elaine Brown's going to use a timeout. 3 straight points for Durham, and they take an 8-5 lead early on in set 1, and realistically it's more execution for Leeds than anything. You can see they're getting some of the things they wanted, but they're just pushing the swings a little bit wide early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you mentioned, one thing they would have worked on was their serve receive, and I think that's actually one of the points they've done really well. The sets, you know, the setter Van Essen has spread the offense, but it's just going wide, going long, and I think it's just that last step that Leeds will really want to just be able to find the court and, you know, get that lethal shot.
And obviously Durham doing a good job there, getting the first block of the game. Obviously not a block for kill, but again, making this team earn points, trying to use their experience just to lengthen points and make this Leeds team really earn it. As Stanton will go back to serve off that timeout. 3-point lead in set number 1 for the Palatinates as Gennaro in, and it is blocked. We just talked about the Durham setting up the block, and it's Alexandria Lesko at the net, says not so fast, and continues his Durham streak.
Yeah, that double block there, that was kind of out of system, so, you know, they could read that. It was going out to the outside.
Borrowdale from the back, another block, solo from Lesko. Borrowdale down the pipe, but Lesko not once but twice, and Durham have all momentum in set number 1.
Leeds is now making a substitution. Coming on is number 1, Virid Farkas, for their captain, number 9, Alessia Gennaro, sorry. Yeah,
Farkas, part of his Leeds team, but hasn't had a lot of court time early on this season. Van Essen goes back set off the top of the net, and Belmontes couldn't quite get that. That ball was going to drop on the line, and she desperately tried to scramble. And not the cleanest of points for Leeds, but a huge one just to stop that Durham run.
Yeah, absolutely. A very good side out there. You know, just sometimes you can't just always swing as hard as you want. You just have to play smart for a little bit and get back into that rhythm.
So having just come on, go back to service line, and she gets the immediate ace, and you can see the excitement from Leeds. Farkas trying to find that seam down the middle, and Durham backline can't quite handle it.
Here she is again behind the service line.
And Belmontes leaves it well in control. You could see that kind of just drifting. And another service error by the home side. As Jamie Daly, the outside, back to serve for Durham. Someone we haven't really talked about a lot, and that opening serve for her finds the net, but Daly super high in volume, obviously for this Durham team. Leeds led the team coming in today with 81 kills and commits her 9th service error of the season, as Belmontes has to scoop low to dig it out. Tough angle into the block, and Holly Tempest gets the first block of the game for Leeds.
And let's just see that again as the ball goes out of system with that sharp cross just outside the antenna. Tempest reads that really well and just goes for that block.
And obviously a really tough angle there for Durham. And Sina and leads it up to set up as Durham again try and go down the middle. Aragbo, sorry, Tashanda diving to her right. Aragbo with the swing. Durham will keep it alive, but it'll be a free ball. The Farkas calls for. Van Essen goes, tries to run the slide, but Sina gets her hands to it and says, Holly Tempest, no on that. And both teams' blocking units really starting to come alive.
Yeah, you can see, as we mentioned, both teams are getting aggressive at net, getting those blocks, getting those kills, and that's going to be one of the main points of this match.
Van Essen scrambling, but able to put something on it. Aragbo goes long. Durham can't get there. And diving to the right, beautiful pickup, but over the net. And Cosarini makes no mistake on that, easy as you like.
Let's see that again. You know, just a bit of a messy plays from both teams, and Cosarini, like you said, one of the middle with the most kill this season, makes no mistake.
Another cross court this time going at Bardell. She's been quiet on offense. And this time finds it, ball heading up into the ceiling as the Durham backline, and Lesko tried to dig it out, but huge for Leeds to get Bardell back in the front row, and that's where she's at her best.
Here's Van Essen back to serve.
First rotation of the game complete. Durham with the 3-point lead as Lesko, another tight angle, and Van Essen can't quite dig it up. And the Leeds block looked like it was going to be there, but this time just trying to tip it over the top. Really smart play.
Yeah, just to find that gap in the defense. The set's gone a bit wide, and Sina makes good use of it.
As Tyler Kutry finds Kalanova. Awkward looking swing by Perfection, and overset by Durham, finds the net. And an unfortunate misplay by Stanton. Oh, Stanton, who's done such a good job early on.
Yeah, just a little bit of miscommunication there between the middle and the outside, but here's Bordell back to serve.
Finds Belmonte's perfect pass, slide for Cosarini. Van Essen over on one, so Durham in system go long, and Kalanova a little bit flat-footed. She rolls the ball down the other end in frustration. And Durham continue to lead as Elaine Brown's going to opt to use that second timeout, trailing 15 points to 11.
Yeah, this is kind of similar to what happened at the last timeout. You know, just lots of a little bit of mistakes and from Leeds that see them like kind of can't quite get into the flow of the game, whereas Durham, you know, using a lot of that, building on a lot of that momentum and using the attacks. Yeah.
And obviously, I think for Leeds, serve receive, we talked about pre-games, kind of held up quite well, but really they're struggling to return ball after that defensively. So that back line, especially, obviously, we've seen the one block by Tempest, but that back line hasn't really been able to get them points after that. So it'd be interesting to see if that was what Elaine Brown's message was about. As you saw, not being able to dig that one out as we come out the timeout, goes down the line, and so often we see that the timeout ices the server, and Putra right into the net.
That's got to be a coach's point there.
Yeah. Apologies, it was Sina on the serve as Tempest in the middle, low and dipping away, and finds the ace.
You know, she finds that gap right in front of the receivers, and you know, between the middle, and just like a miscommunication between the two gives her the ace.
Third ace on the season for Holly Tempest. As long push set, Van Essen gets hands to it, gonna have to go over. So Durham will have a chance again going down the middle, but Gorse this time reads it and places it wide and short, and no chance for Leeds defensively there, and she's got her handprints all over this game. We've seen tips, we've seen slides, and now just a off-pace hit.
Yeah, just finds that spot really well without a libero on the court there.
As Kalanova can't quite dig it out. And Durham continue to lead in set number 1. And we said before the game that Gorse was dangerous from the serve line. Leads that this Durham team in aces this time. Push set and huge swing and huge kill by Tashandu down from the middle in that gap, as you see here on the replay.
Yeah, way to set out there from Leeds. Finds that B play, and none of the blockers have seemed to found the play.
And we saw it from Leeds earlier, running that longer set with 2 options, and really hard to set it up for blocks as Uragbo finds the ace going again down the line. It's clearly something Leeds have talked about. We've seen a lot of serves go down the line early on here in set number 1, and that's her 8th ace of the season as Leeds try and get back into the set, now trailing just by 2 points, 17-15 here at Super League Live.
Ooh, Durham just get the play back. And a great dig there by Belmontes.
And Kalanova this time in position. Van Essen going to set Borrowdale with a kind of a timid push backline play. Borrowdale digs it out. And the longest rally we've seen of the game. And the ball finds the back line. And Durham were hoping it was out, but you could see Paul Welsh say, yeah, I saw it kind of hit that baseline. It's a huge point for Leeds out of system, but still managed to find the winner.
Yeah, lots of great patience from both teams, you know, and being disciplined just with the defending there and then seeing the play.
Belmontes leaves that, and it's a terrific leave. That one just creeping over, but you can see her collegiate experience there coming in and seeing not enough quite topspin on that ball to help it drop onto the line as Malaya Stanton back to serve. Borrowdale misplay, but will have a chance to put it over straight at Belmontes, and the middle attack again. Let's go with the kill, and Durham have found success with the middles.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen so many plays in the middle, but also spreaded offense, not just always going for the same sets, but, you know, we've seen the slide, we've seen the A, we've seen the B.
As Farkas can't find the kill. Daly's been quiet in set number 1 by her standards, tries to go cross court, but recycle play into the hands of the block and out of court. And from a 1-point gap, Durham reel off 3 straight, and they take a commanding lead in set number 1, just 5 points away. As joust at the net. Leeds able to keep it up off the hands of the block. Belmontes inside the free midline is going to set Kalanova, and Farkas a little bit slow to react, and 4 straight for Durham, and that will all but seal set number 1 here at the Mari Women's Super League Live, as Durham trying to get back into the top 4 push. As Van Essen, tough angle for Farkas, and again this Durham defensive unit doing a good job, but this time Daly tries to go line and swings around it a little bit too much and leaves it wide.
Here Farkas for Leeds back behind the service line.
She's right below us here from our competition on the balcony. Low dipping serve. Belmontes does a great job to get to it in system and off the hands of the block. Van Essen wanting a net touch, but referee Joseph Gore happy it was clean, and that little touch off the block just wrong-footed the back line.
You know, that was a great work, just like finding the gap between the block and getting a touch off it.
So Daly back on the service line. Borrowdale has to try and go left-handed, a little bit of an overset by Van Essen, and Borrowdale can't make the correction, was worried about running into the post. And Durham now moving 2 points away from set 1. As Calanova, perfect pass, and Van Essen goes over on second touch, found the middle of the Durham defense, and a great read.
Yeah, cheeky, let's see that again. There's just that gap between the wing diggers on the Durham side. Van Essen sees it and uses it to the best of her advantage.
See if Leeds can get some momentum. Stanton, perfect set, but Farkas able to get there. Van Essen going long, Borrowdale, but not quite completed by Leeds. They'll get a second attack. Borrowdale off the hands of Lesko, finds the floor. And Ava Borrowdale.
And with that, you see the offense being spread so wide, leaving that just that space between, you know, having the middle run the slide as a decoy. And yeah, Borrowdale's attack too much for Durham.
As Belmontes has done a terrific job defensively in set number 1 for Durham. Pipe attack not quite in sync, so Leeds will attack, huge swing and off the roof, but Ava Borrowdale back-to-backs off the boil a little bit in the middle of the set, but she's trying to get momentum back for this Leeds side as head coach Paul Welsh calls timeout.
You know, a great run of 3 points for Leeds there, and having just an attack that's too high. Ava Borrowdale's reach is right above that block and, you know, goes down. Durham has got away with, you know, hitting the roof a few times, but this time it doesn't go their way.
Indeed, and obviously with 2 timeouts in his back pocket, an early chance for Paul Welsh. And to talk it over, just calm it down. You still only need 2 points for sets. You're in a commanding position, but you don't really want to let momentum kind of swing in Durham's favour here. If you can close out 2 quick points, just make sure Leeds don't have a foothold in this set and try and run that through to set number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Whichever team, you know, will want to finish the set strong, and they'll bring whatever momentum they can onto the next.
So out of that timeout, important for Leeds to get ball in play here from the service line. Stanton has to scramble to get it, and the cross court, and that's where you get caught with the rotation. You've got a middle in the back row, and this time Shandu can't make the defensive play that her team desperately needed her to.
And here's now the Durham captain, Ali Lesko, behind the service line.
Chance to close out set number 1. 4 set points for the Palatinates. Van Essen goes again, but this time Stanton, the setter, able to make the play. Calanova keeps it alive. Borrowdale's going to have a tough angle off the top of the net tape. Long set, Van Essen able to keep it alive. Borrowdale goes cross court on a tight angle but misses it. And Durham, we said they would want to take 2 points in a row to close out set number 1, and they do, and they win it 25 points to 20, and a very good start for Durham, having come off a 3-0 loss in London yesterday. They'll be delighted with how they performed in set number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Durham has not started the strongest, but they have really found their momentum and their flow within, and using just lots of, you know, having 3 blocks and a lot of kills, just using that momentum and like being aggressive at the net, using that to, you know, break Leeds' momentum.
Yeah, and for Leeds, really, it's about trying to find clean winners right now. We obviously had Aragbo had a couple early on, and then Borrowdale a couple late in the set, but they've not found clean winners yet offensively.
Yeah, no, and I think for Leeds it's about minimizing those mistakes. You know, lots of forming and spreading the offense. However, can't find the court in that, you know, last kill, last tip, last push, and just finding ways to exploit the gaps between Leeds defense. And you've got to find the court to be able to, you know, exploit their defense.
And obviously for Durham, obviously we talked about the impact of the middles. Lesko, Costarini, but it's not just the offensive end. Obviously, they've done a good job on that, but you also saw the blocks in the middle of the set that really got that Durham team going and full of confidence.
Yeah, and not just the block, being able to read the blocks really well. The back line, especially the libero, Belmontes making lots of big plays and, just keeping Durham in that game.
Indeed, as both coaching teams just talking to their sides as we get ready for set number 2. Wouldn't expect to see any changes from Durham, so they'll go with Daly, Sina, Cosarini, Lesko, Stanton and Kutri, and obviously Belmontes.
Yep. And the same with the Leeds side, and they started the way they finish. So with Farkas on for number 9, Gennaro, just keeping that flow, keeping that momentum going, and trying to start off how they finished.
Indeed, obviously Leeds captain has been influential, but with Farkas back available and an option, Coach Elaine Brown going that way. Melissa Gennaro struggled with her attacking side this year, 25 errors due to 9 kills for the Leeds captain, so with Elaine Brown having a couple more options today, giving Farkas a look, and she made a couple of solid defensive plays in set number 1. As set number 2 underway with Daly on the service line, and Borrowdale finding Belmontes has been terrific defensively. Kalanova, Van Essen again going over on 2, this time finding Stanton, tip play, and tight at the net. Borrowdale, Stanton, that probably was going wide, but Leeds play it again, trying to find Borrowdale. Belmontes, another huge dig. This is the longest rally of the game to open set 2, and Van Essen punches it over, but wide of the antenna. And Caroline Belmontes, 3 digs in the same rally, all off Ava Borrowdale, one of the best attackers in the Super League.
Yeah, just really impressive for Belmontes, great read and way to execute it as Daly make a service error. And we're 1-1 here in the second set.
Yeah, huge let off for Leeds as Durham snatched that early momentum in set number 2, but Daly unable to get the ball over the tape, and error in return as Van Essen pushes that wide.
Yeah, looking to aim for that cross court, but it just goes too far wide, and Durham read it well, leaving it.
Van Essen kind of the high-risk server on this Leeds team, obviously leads the way in errors and aces as Farkas pulls Van Essen way off the 3-meter line, but perfection with a huge down the line swing to get her underway in set number 2.
Yeah, here it is, so lethal from that wing, and it was too much for the Durham defense.
As Ava Borrowdale goes, floats serve, overpass, Tempest, not the cleanest of connections, but Daly can't get there.
Let's see that again, we've mentioned the serve errors, and Tempest there from the middle just sees the ball go across the net and, makes no mistake.
Daly's been attacked a lot on serve this year, over 105 attempts on serve receive going into this game.
Ooh.
This time
That's an ace.
This time she lets it go and the ball dips in onto the line. We didn't have the best angle up here above the court in Leeds, but our line judges are right on the case, and Ava Borrowdale back with the ace.
Like you mentioned, Leeds have been targeting Daly, and Durham has changed up the receive a little bit for. Ooh.
As Borrowdale hits the tape, Belmontes nearly with the pancake save, but the ball hitting the floor first. And 3 quick points for Ava Borrowdale on serve. 1 overpass and 2 aces. As you said, Daly just taking a little bit more, Belmontes taking a little bit more court to her left, leaving bigger space, and they're trying to attack it. Daly able to get it to the net, down the line, and the ball goes long. And Durham are going to talk it over early in set number 2, trailing 6 points to 2. and it's a huge response by this Leeds Gorse team.
Absolutely, coming out strong from that. And as we mentioned at the start, Eva Borrowdale with that, not just the height in the front court, but behind the service line as well, targeting those players and, changing it up, going long, going short. And yeah, Durham hasn't quite figured it out.
And obviously, one off the net court's a little bit tough to get, but the others, Borrowdale's really just starting to try and find those seams, and it's clearly they've got a game plan. They know where they want to try and target and serve, and they're going to just not go there every time so it's not predictable, but kind of have that balance and really trying to attack Daly.
Yeah, and I think there's that versatility with Durham's side, having lots of players that are comfortable with setting. We've seen Stanton and Kutri, take the second ball, and that just gives them the versatility to change up the pass. Ooh.
As out of timeout, service error. Seen it so many times. It feels like it's one of the hardest skills in volleyball is to serve, having just had a timeout.
Yeah, absolutely. And Borrowdale's gone on a good run, but couldn't keep that up after a set.
Lovely back set by Van Essen. Overpass by the Durham back line and finished off. And again, Van Essen changing up the offense and this time getting rewarded.
Yeah, you can go up for that block, but it's just so tough being up there alone, and yeah.
And I think that's the thing for Van Essen and what they're trying to do. You can see the attack, they're trying to spread it out, trying to isolate Durham and not allow double blocks to get set, and trying to attack singles as Belmontes gets crossed up. But another great pass, and Gossarini finds the gap of the Leeds blockers, finds the floor.
Yeah, absolutely. That tempo and that just being able to send the blockers away, that gap between the two, and Gossarini makes no mistake. Durham has really come out strong after that timeout, so we'll see how their Leeds are going to able to respond to that.
Libero change for Leeds as Uwagbo finds the hands, not the Uwagbo, Shandu finds the hands, finds the kill as Trista Lee will come in. We've seen Leeds rotate liberos throughout this Super League season, so Lee will have an opportunity with her team on serve, and it's Uwagbo who's at the service line. Had an ace in set number 1. Can she do in set 2? She'll again attack Daly down the line. Gossarini gets Lee scrambling. Well dug out by Leeds. They'll make Durham earn this one. Gossarini into the block, recycled, and it'll be a free ball for Gorse. Long pass and into the block by Farkas and widens. Huge point for Durham. It looked like for all the world that was going to hit the floor early on, but a terrific diving play to keep it alive.
Just, being composed in that and then getting rewarded with that smart block touch play.
Stanton, Daly. Van Essen gets a touch on the net to keep Daly away from the swing. Durham will get it over, but Kutri with the overpass. Belmontes nearly with an outrageous pickup, but Durham look all out of sorts in set number 2.
Yeah, it's again that overpass, just getting the ball too tight to net where the setter can't really do anything with it. Oh, and here's a substitution for Durham.
It's Renee Regal checking in the Canadian. She'll give a break to Kutri as to serve into the net. And a cheap one for Durham, who are trying to find some sort of footing in set number 2, having won set number 1 here, 25-20. As we see most of the London Lionhearts players now in the building as well, ahead of their game. As Van Essen,
wow,
behind her head, and Elaine Brown gives the thumbs up. The crowd are on their feet here.
Yeah, let's take a look at that again. As we said, she spread the offense so well, and she spread up her offense as well. Going for a dump in the donut in the beginning, but now she's found the gap just at the tee.
As the cross-court serve into the net. Leeds starting to rack up service errors here in set number 2, but Van Essen with one of the kills of the season on that setter read, and that's such a hard skill to put off. Not only to have the confidence to go, but to do it over your head as well. I believe, if I got that right, that's just kill 2 of the season, and Leeds continue to side out here and lead 12 points to 6.
Here's Chandu the middle to go back to serve, and this is gonna be a rotation that Durham will want to capitalize on with the no libero on the court for Leeds. Oh, and an immediate overpass.
Borrowdale goes up against 2. Stanton gets a hand to it. Leeds trying to set up a blocking unit. Chandu this time makes the play, and a miscommunication on the back line, trying to leave it for each other, and then at the last minute realised what was going to happen, but can't control the ball. That goes out of play. And these are the moments where you really want this Leeds side to step on and just keep the foot on the gas and not make little errors and allow them just to hang around. And that'll be a frustration, no doubt, for Elaine Brown, as Daly on the service line. Borrowdale pushes it wide. Great opportunity for Ava Borrowdale, but can't quite connect.
And slowly, with these past few points, Durham have slowly climbed back and finding a little bit of momentum, although it is mostly earned from Leeds' mistakes.
And there's another one as the backcourt swing into the net. You can see Elaine Brown just trying to coach up her team and just talk about some technical points and just try and settle her side down.
And another service error here, this time from Daly, giving Leeds another chance to, start to find that flow that they've built up earlier.
Yeah, it's going to be a frustration for this Durham side. So that one from Van Essen clips the tape of the net, but over. Huge swing by Sino, he's been quiet. And Borrowdale this time over the block, finds the floor. And a much needed point for Leeds. Borrowdale wasn't the easiest swing she's had today. The block was well established before she even rose up. As Belmontes, not the greatest pass by her standards, but Daly from the pipe goes for placement and finds the gap in the Leeds defense, and a huge swing by Daly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just that little pinky down cross, finding the edge of the court, and Van Essen thought that was going out.
Van Essen, Borrowdale on the opposite side this time. Finds the gap. Durham weren't sat on that one. And Ava Borrowdale on a single block's going to make no mistake.
Yeah, this time she makes that close contact. The middle's coming in a little bit later, so she finds that gap right between them and finds the court. And here she is back to serve.
Again, just clipping the tape, but not really affecting the serve receivers. Kalanova in good position on the cross-court hit. Borrowdale from the pipe finds the back line again, and Leeds all of a sudden back up 6 points, 16 points to 10.
Another great attack there from Borrowdale, and finds the court. It looked like he could have been going just wide, but it snuck into the court. Great precision there from Borrowdale.
And she'll again try and find the seam. Durham wanting the ball played on their side of the net, but referee happy, you can see.
Yeah, with that, it's just, I think, a classic case of play to the whistle. Stanton there, the setter, thought it was an evasion from Leeds, and stopped the play. Here we have a timeout from Durham. After a few run of points from Leeds, they're gonna want to try to fix up their mistakes.
Indeed, and I think that's 5 straight points, or at least 5 of the last 6 for this Leeds team after the gap had kind of closed back in. And that'll be a frustration for Paul Welsh as he talks it over in that huddle. You can see animated, and he's just drawing something up on his whiteboard. You don't have a view of it at home, and we're trying to, but we're up high and we're just trying to see what he's talking about. You can see how animated he is, and he's clearly frustrated with the mistakes that have allowed Leeds to pull away in set number 2.
Yeah, just the small things. You know, the last few points have been earned from the kills from the Leeds side, so they're gonna try to close that block and get the defense into shape. Here's Brodell again, back to serve.
Perfect pass. Oh. And Costarini this time can't find the kill again. Just trying to ever so slightly find the gap, but not quite sure. I think it was Tempest. We'll have a look on the replay who got a hands to it. Indeed it was. Not the biggest middle in the world, Holly Tempest, but former Darkstar player able to get her hands to it and gets her second block kill of the game. As again, Leeds clip the tape on the serve. Don't know what they've done to this net tape here to be on their side, but obviously a little home court advantage, but Durham this time able to get the side out.
Yeah, and there was Kutri there, and as again, with that 6-2 that Durham are able to play, you know, they spread their offense so much more. And here's a substitution from Leeds.
Yeah, going to give Borodell a break, up 7 points. So get Ganero back into the game and see if they can get her settled as Tempest runs a kind of a loopy slide, and the Durham back line can't quite get to it after the tip at the net. And I think Elaine Brown, I think important for her, just, you know, this has potentially got a chance of a 5-setter. If you've got a 7-8 point lead late in the set, just give your best player a little bit of a breather. You're not, hopefully don't lose too much momentum, but also make sure she can just take a minute just to read what else is happening as Kutri from the back into the hands of the block, but Durham recycle, gonna have to go back line, does Daly. Ganero nearly gets crossed up. She'll have a pipe attack of her own, but Belmonte's again done a terrific job defensively. Daly, another long rally as both backline pipe attackers having a chance for swings as Tempest gets her hands to it.
Ooh.
Tries to go middle, and Cosarini saw Tempest deep in the court and goes for the tip inside the 3-meter line, and Durham win a long rally.
Yeah, and again, it's that patience, but also using that smart play. You know, both of them have been going so strong, so just finding that gap and just placing the ball there.
And you saw Tempest trying to start to sit middle, thinking it was going to be a shallow. She could kind of see it might be a tip, but she assumed it was where Cossarini's gone a lot, which is down the middle. Instead, she pushes it wide. As huge win by Durham, as one Van Essen to the other. We haven't really talked about it yet, obviously, them playing together, but Molly to Sarah, who's just come straight off the bench, and she'll get her first kill, second of the season.
Yeah, the twin connection there going strong.
Stanton into the hands of the block. And Farkas attacking with pace, and she'll fire it into the block and win another one for Leeds as they are dominant in set number 2.
Yeah, both teams just, you know, taking advantage of the high hands. Of course, the blocks have been strong, but if they're able to just get above that hand and getting, yeah, to get the block touch to go fly away.
Kutri from a wide angle, the ball finds the gap in the roof. No roof touch, so Durham will get a chance to set up. Again, trying to go middle, and Cosarini can't quite.
Oh, and here's
so Cosarini's going to take a break. In fact, with this set going again, and we've seen it with Borodell, and I think maybe Durham are thinking exactly the same thing, just to have a little bit of a break late in set number 2. Both teams get ready for set number 3 as a change. Also by Leeds, as into the game for the first time, wearing number 14 for Leeds, is Christina Nagacha. another young player, part of the Leeds academy that we've seen start to really come through in junior competitions. Obviously, Leeds Gorse winning the under-15 national title last season at the Volleyball Centre in Kettering. They'll try and retain that title. As
Marcus here behind the service line for Leeds.
it was a double change for Leeds. As Gennaro tried to keep it in alive, but played it twice. Good effort, but Durham able to win the point, but it won't be enough unless we get miracles late in set number 2. As the crowd really starting to build here at the Ruth Gorse Academy. As Daly goes down, not quite perfectly down the line, but into the gap in the back row. And Daly, who's been quiet by her standards, just starting to find a little bit of rhythm here. And I'm seeing a little bit more ball on the attack line as Malaya Stanton back to serve, goes line. Gennaro not with the greatest pass. Farkas from the backbound. Montez just about gets her hands to it. Kutri tries to run round it. It's a little bit of a long set and pushes it wide.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta put a hand onto the play. It's gone a bit wide and she's trying to cut it across. Unfortunately, it's just gone too wide this time.
And the Leeds crowd rallying behind their hometown team as the serve goes along by Sarah Van Essen. Was very close to that back line, but well left. As Daly. Farkas, who's done a really good job off the bench. Slide for Tempest, and Durham can't keep it up. It was Sina with the first touch, but Lesko not able to respond. And 8 set points for Leeds.
There's Malian and Essen back to serve.
Kutri off the hands. Lee gets a hand to it. It's going to be a free ball for the Palatinates. Kutri stops and finds the winner. Trista Lee diving to her right, couldn't keep it up for the second time of asking.
Yeah, and you can see that they're, again, spreading the offense so well over there. Farkas, no, not Farkas. Gennaro thought it was going towards the middle, cheated a bit and was too late to the block.
As Lesko into the net, and that is set number 2 to the hosts. They win it convincing fashion, 25 points to 17. And a much needed response by Leeds, but really that middle of the set is where it came back after Durham kind of closed the gap early on. That kind of middle run for Durham put it away, middle run for Leeds put that set away, and they were a lot more convincing. You can see why this team's had success this year based on that set.
And a big part of that was Ava Bordeaux, you know, being able to go behind, not just attack in the front row, but go behind the service line and make lots of good plays. Yeah, just Leeds tidying up their mistakes and reaping some of the rewards.
Yeah, and for Durham, obviously, we talked in set number 1 about the middle play, and obviously Kosorini was there, but they got a big contribution from Lesko in set number 1, and set number 2 felt like that just disappeared. Lesko in particular, super quiet.
Yeah, I think in particular, you know, with when you're out of system, it's harder to get the middles moving, and I think one thing we've seen with that was Leeds making Durham kind of scramble sometimes, not being able to play so many balls with systems, and with that they go more across to the wings, and we've seen Daly, we've seen Sinar having some success. However, it's just getting back into that rhythm, getting that first pass up to be able to spread your offense more widely.
And obviously, talking about Leeds, the job Van Essen has done has been important, but really it's the spacing this Leeds team are playing with. Obviously, we know teams are going to try and sit on Ava Borrell, but Leeds have done a good job trying to really find ways to isolate single blocks for her by spreading out, running B gaps, running a couple of C gaps as well, and just how hard and how much pressure is that put on that Durham front line.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing we've noticed is that the middles are not only being used as well as a decoy, which means the other side has to react to more of the different plays that they're setting up. We've seen that kind of slide and 10 combo, lots of trick plays coming in here, and you know, it's just how the teams, it just makes it difficult for the teams to read.
We will try and keep you up to date with what else is happening around the Super League. A couple of big games down in London as Mallory Eagles and Essex Rebels square off in a men's and women's doubleheader. Mallory Eagles in that game took set number 1, 25-22. So that's a potential top of the table clash on the men's side. Obviously the women's game later on as well. And we'll keep you updated with that and the other fixtures around the league as set number 3 about to start. And both starting units back on. So Van Essen, Kalanova, Farkas, Borrell, Tempest, and Owagbo for Leeds.
I think it was really important in that second set to, you know, not only, ooh, and there's an ace.
Van Essen going again at Daly, whose serve receive has not held up today so far for Durham.
Yeah, it's just important to keep up that service pressure, and you can see there Belmontes giving some more cover, but there was a 3-point pass from Daly, but Leeds were able to pick up the attack.
Borrell goes cross court. Owagbo single against Sinan. She'll make no mistake in that again. That's what we talked about, that Leeds offense, and there's the perfect example.
Yeah, absolutely. You see, the middle there is left with a single block, and you know, Sinar is not the biggest player, so it's quite tough, and finds that gap, you know, between the block but not quite the line, just avoids the libero at the line.
And Belmonte, is the way she's been playing, is someone you don't want to try and give a lot of ball to, as Sinar tries to get herself going but misconnects, and this Leeds momentum from set number 2 is carrying on there, immediately up 3-0 in set number 3.
Yeah, you know, just to see them build on the, you know, momentum they've made. They've come back from the second set, and yeah, just building onto it and taking advantage of the Durham mistakes.
Borrell unable to get height on it. Kalanova and Van Essen both trying to scramble to keep the ball alive, but neither can get there. And a big point for Durham to win. Again, it wasn't a perfect side out, but doesn't matter as long as you find the way to keep the scoreboard ticking. As Kalanova a little bit low, Van Essen gets to go with the bump set off Borrell. Well kept alive by Sinar. That's going to be tight to the net. Tempest gets a hand to it. Pancake by Kalanova. Belmontes to her left. Huge defensive plays by both teams. Borrell into the block, recycled. And perfection with the kill. And Leeds win a huge rally where defense was the star.
It was, and here's that free ball. And again, we see Van Essen switching up the play so much. You know, left perfection there on the wing, and just finds that gap between the two players, and the outside and libero didn't quite know who was going to get it, and yeah.
Huge point to win for Leeds. Durham have run a couple of the longer rallies in this game, so important for Leeds to get one as they continue momentum. Belmontes again attacked, and this time off the hands of Tempest, and it was a really tough angle for cover on that. And Durham win point number 2 as they just try and slow this game down and just get back into the rhythm that we saw in set number 1.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be the hardest swing, and we see those high hands and just like exploiting that that block touch.
As Van Essen couldn't quite find the angle on the set, and a little bit low and into the net by Tempest.
Sina back behind the service line.
She goes down the line. And well dug out off the 3-meter line for Daly. Van Essen, another back set, cross court. Good angle, but Durham defense in the right position. That's going to be a push into the back corner. You could see them kind of anticipate it, but Owagbo goes with placement and beats Sina on that back line.
Yeah, you can see just the connection was a little, perfection's gone a little bit too early. Couldn't quite get a swing on it, but you know, sees that gap between the libero running into a back line and just places it there.
So Holly Tempest. There's the Durham middle attack that we saw in set number 1. Stanton. Perfect set. And exactly what Durham need. Trying to get their middle going.
Here it is again. You see that gap between the block. You know, couldn't quite get there and makes no mistake from that.
And that
set.
quick ball is so hard for the outside blockers to try and get to, as Farkas into the net, and suddenly that Leeds hot start has gone, and it's 5 points apiece here in set number 3.
Here's Cosarini back to serve.
Borodale, another low serve, but Stanton with the mistake over on the first touch, and perfection makes no mistake, finds the gap. Again, having all the room in the world to attack.
Wow. Just the way that she is able to fearlessly attack, the confidence on her swing, and you know, Durham's block can't quite get there, and just really exploiting that space in behind.
Yeah, Lesko was trying to get from that middle position to help with set up a double block, but couldn't quite get there in time. As Stanton, Daly goes down the line. That's a big swing. It's the first one we've really seen from her finish with that authority.
Yeah, and here's the replay. You see that line, oh, so clean. And it's way too high for the Oppo to reach, and yeah, finds the court.
And Durham really need to get her going if they want a chance to win this crucial game in the Mari Women's Super League. As Van Essen sets down the pipe for Borodale, and she'll split the back line. Belmonte says don't worry about it, but Ava Borodale doing it from the back row.
Yeah, and again, you see that decoy play with Chandu in the front row going up, but setting Borodale in the pipe, and yeah, just takes the Durham defense into pieces.
Yeah, and Lesko was kind of just over her hands from that middle position. As Farkas goes cross court. Stanton way off the net. Kalanova, great pass. Van Essen again. Great scramble defense by Malaya Stanton to deny her opposite setter the kill. As Belmontes has to bump Borodale, overpass, scramble at the net, and they're going to call a lift, I believe, from Van Essen. Oh, they're going to call a net violation. The referees just going to talk it over. But it will be a point to Leeds as Daly approached the net, just to get clarification. It's a shame because that was good work again defensively by Durham, as Belmonte's a little bit low. And the pipe attack off the top of the net tape, and nothing you can do as a defensive unit on that one.
Yeah, of course, just using that net trickling over, and you know, you're expecting it to go deep, and it's just trickled over, and try to get the pancake but couldn't get her fingertips to it.
And they're so frustrating as defenders when you see that off the top of the net and take all the pace out of it. As back row over, nearly a collision in the backcourt, really tight angle. Kalanova gets there, and really tough angle for Owagbo. She tried to get round it, tries to go cross court, but too much, and we are tied at 8 points apiece.
Yeah, Leeds just huddling together to talk that out, you know, trying to get back into pace.
Van Essen a little bit strong, but Borodale able to stay on the right side of the net. Kalanova into the net, and the cover wasn't quite there on time by Leeds. And Durham take the lead 9 points to 8 as a few more to Dark Star Derbyshire team enter what is nearly a fully packed out gym here in Leeds. Great to see. Obviously had tremendous support last week as well at Crystal Palace National Sports Centre as Borrowdale finds Belmontes.
Ooh, and the roll shot there from Sinar, you know, very smart, just going for a different angle.
Free ball, Stanton does a good job. And the ball goes along, Farkas ducks underneath it, and frustration for Durham. That was everything they wanted. Stanton got under it, under net so she could set. Kutri was amazing to read that and be in the right position to deal with the shot, but not quite the execution on the swing.
Oh.
As into the net goes Shandu. And that will rotate Kalanova back on to serve as the other middle at the other end, Lesko. Ali Lesko will go back.
Oh, and another service mistake.
And Lesko's not had the strongest season. Obviously missed part of the season. She was one that missed early parts of the season with injury, but she's serving at only just over 75% success rate on serves, and there's another error for that tally, unfortunately. As go down the line, but free ball on the overpass, and Cosarini needs no invitation. She'll have a hammer swing on the overpass.
Yeah, it just goes above the plane of the net, and she takes it right down. I think with Leeds, it's again about minimizing those mistakes, you know, having lots of giving. We don't want to give the other team free opportunities to attack.
Borrowdale into the hands of the block. Cosarini, quick ball, Tempest can't get there. And Durham take a 2-point lead, and Cosarini with back-to-back quick kills. And Elaine Brown is going to take that moment to talk it over. A side trailing 10 points to 12 in set number 3. And that's clearly where Durham are having success is the middles right now, and they've managed to get back to it in set number 3.
Absolutely. Like we said, they haven't been using a lot of middles in the second set, and it wasn't quite as effective, but you know, having cleaned up those mistakes, they were able to spread their offense more, and really just, you know, having Cosarini there in the front really just gave them lots of opportunities to attack and exploit the space behind Leeds' defense. And yeah, and with that, they've kind of brought up back that lead.
As we go back and forth in set 3, obviously it's almost a pivotal set when you get to one set. Oh, you want that momentum, and you want to make sure you don't have to be perfect in set 4. Obviously, you always want to close it out 3 sets to 1 instead of 3-2 and gain the extra point, but gives you a little bit more wiggle room going down the back end of the game as Durham trying to find a winner on serve out of the timeout. Awagbo crossed, and Belmontes this time can't make the defensive play.
Yeah, there she is again, just, you know, finishing that play, that last swing. The accuracy, and she really knows who to target, or where to target rather.
So it's Ava Borrowdale, who's had a couple of serving runs in this game. She goes a line that nearly catches Durham out by surprise, but Cosarini, Tempest got a hand to it, so Durham can recycle. Borrowdale from the back. Back row set off the hands, and Kalanova and Borrowdale look at each other, and that's the one you want your libero to take.
Yeah, again, just that little miscommunication. They're both going to it. But again, I guess as a libero, you always want to take that ball and make that play.
As Durham off the top of the net, able to recycle. Daly has to go tip, but tips it into the net, and that net tape has definitely got a home court favour to it.
Yeah, we've seen Borrowdale use it for her serves, and you know that tip's just not quite over. There's Tempest back to serve.
Stanton able to get there. Cosarini thought it was going to be a really tough swing for her, but she squeezes it through the block. And Coserini is dominant in set number 3.
Yeah, a really smart play there. Just using that, you see the outside transition, but just that cheeky little play, the C behind the setter.
As an ace for Coserini, Borrell misplays it. Rare service receive error by her. And Ganero's gonna check in for Leeds. And we'll see who it's Farkas that is gonna take a break.
It's so important, as we mentioned earlier, those substitutions, because it's not just about giving your starting players a rest, but also being able to have your game changers, you know, be in the game and just feel warm and in the rhythm.
Coserini with the defensive play, but one at the net. You always love that as a middle when it's the setter trying to fight at the net, and Shandu able to force it past Stanton for the kill. So Leeds trailing by 2 points midway through set number 3 here in the Mari Women's Super League, as Daly into the hands. Kalanova with a big pickup. Ganero off the bench, going to have a swing at it, finds Belmontes. Daly into the block, Van Essen can't quite control it. Ganero not there on the cover. And Jamie Daly starting to come alive in this game. And Elaine Brown's going to use a timeout with a side trailing by 3 points, 16-13, the Durham lead in set number 3. And this is where the experience of Elaine Brown really useful, obviously, just to calm her team down. And you can see her just talking about hand placement, I think, a little bit there as well. And if your Leeds, it's time to just mix up the offense a little bit, not in terms of distribution, but in terms of pace. Like, we've not seen many tips, we've not seen many goals, and obviously Vanessa's gone away from looking for a couple of kills as well herself.
Absolutely, and that looks like what the coaches were talking about. Just kind of, not only we've seen Durham use that tip, the high hands, the roll shots, and just kind of changing that up so, you know, the defense won't really know what to expect, and just, you know, having that variety of shots. Here they're back. Ooh.
That one rolling over the tape. It looked like it was going to be set up for Durham, but the swing from the back by Sinar is long. And a big point for Leeds out of that timeout, as you don't want that lead to get to 4 or 5 towards the back end of the set. As Ganero. And again, a middle offense by Durham. It's Kutri with the kill.
And here we'll see it again. Again, that gap right between the blocks, just being able to exploit, and the space between the opposite and the outside at the back.
That's Van Essen struggling, and there's the one we were talking about, backpedaling. Not as good as the one in set number 2, but a high degree of difficulty backpedaling away. And finds the perfect gap in between the Durham defense.
You know, that almost looked like an overpass, but Van Essen was able to make something out of it. And she sees that space between the Durham defense and exploits it.
Again, Durham running middle. Shandu able to get a hand on it to keep it alive. Borrowdale. Belmontes gets it up in the air, but the Durham second unit wasn't there to keep it alive. And all of a sudden, we're back to 1 in set number 2. Shandu, Stanton, back set, and Kutri with an aggressive cross-court swing. She finds the kill.
Yeah, that angle was tough. Just again, it's about spraying that offense. You know, both the blockers came a bit late, and she was able to exploit that space between the cross and... Ooh, and here's a substitution for Leeds. Number 8, Perfection, is coming off for number 5, Lauren Thorne.
Yeah, Lauren Thorne, another junior in this lead setup. She's going to have a opportunity. As Tempest on the slide, well dug out by Durham, but they're going to call a lift unfortunately, but nearly a huge pickup by Malaya Stanton on the back row.
Yeah. Ooh. And it's an immediate substitution as Perfection comes back into the front row.
So a little rotation, but also I wonder if it's just a little time just to have a little bit longer conversation is what they need. But what Leeds need to do is start setting up the middle block. This middle block defense is not good right now, and again, Durham able to take advantage with Cosarini.
Yeah, with her in the front row and, you know, Tempest being the smaller blocker, he's just finding a way to time it, to read it, and, you know, make the defense easier for the back row.
Renee Regal in to serve for the Palatinates, leading by 2. Late in set number 3, make that 1. Huge swing by Perfection.
Yeah, we've seen how valuable she is to that team, you know, always going to her for the side out, and she's able to find that space between the players in the back row, and also being able to find the court well.
Tightest set of the day here so far, as Belmontes, all she could do is up in the air into the block. Borrowdale, Calanova gets it over. Cosarini once again. Leeds have no answer right now, and she is running a riot.
She is absolutely, and again, all of that middle, we've said this in the beginning, she's the one to watch, and she's made no mistake. You know, the setters are going for her for the side out, and yeah, it's just too much for Leeds to handle at the minute. We've seen our serve. Ooh.
Lee, who'd come into the game, gets crossed up. Leeds can't keep it alive, and the Durham lead is 3, and a big ace for Sina. A massive moment in this game, perhaps, as Durham try and get 2 sets of 1 ahead. 4th ace of the season by Sina, but she backs it up with the service error.
Yeah, and it's so important for, you know, players to kind of not get too high, not get too low. We've seen so many service errors after aces, but it's just about stringing together that run of serves and, you know, giving your team the chance to play the game.
Low serve. Regal able to pick it up. Pipe attack off the top of the net. Vanessa's going to set
And
from the back row. And Borrowdale finds an angle. Huge moment for Leeds. And that is the experience and class of Ava Borrowdale.
Absolutely. You see, they return a pipe with a pipe play, but you look at that space just between. The liberos cheated a little bit towards the middle, not thinking that she's going to go for that tight angle.
Another low serve dug out by Regal, and Cosarini finds the line. At an agonising wait for it, but the line judge on the opposite end of the court had a great view of it and calls the ball good. But this is maybe a concern for Durham. If you don't get us, you need Cosarini to do something here, because she's been their offense, and she's gonna rotate out being the middle after this point if Leeds can win it. It's a huge point, but Durham win it and Leeds don't connect at the crucial moment.
Yeah, and again, with Cosarini right here serving, Leeds are gonna want to side out because they're gonna want her off the court.
And also, you don't want to face 4 set points as tight set. Gennaro does well, but can't put a lot on it. Daly cross court, dug out by Lee. Gennaro's going to call for it. 3-ball Palatinates. Regal takes it. Slide play into the net, and there was no touch. Unfortunately, Lesko tried to run the slide, but found the net tape instead. And Leeds win a big one, but they now need to do something on serve. And it's Perfection Awagbo with that responsibility. Spanish national team player. Big swing by Daly, and Borrowdale can't make the defensive play.
I think there again, they've left the line, but she's still somehow able to get that cross to Borrowdale, who wasn't quite underneath the ball enough.
So 3 set points for Durham, and they'll get a chance on the overpass and the finish. Ganero with the mistake, but the mistake not made in return, and that is set number 3 to Durham. They take a 2-1 lead as Tyler Kutry puts it away with authority.
Yeah, I think with this set, you kind of see the same patterns as we saw in the first set. You know, just lots of kind of less clean plays by Leeds, you know, a few more mistakes which allow Durham to capitalize on. And yeah, you know, back to running their middles, back to, you know, using their wing diggers. And I think that's something that Leeds are going to have to consider, how they're going to shut down, you know, especially Cosarini there in the middle, and yeah, just be able to use their attack more effectively.
And obviously Daly started to get going in that set, which is important for Durham, so they've got some options on the outside, but if you can really get one of Sina or Kutry going, that's going to be the key. So, and force Leeds to not sit on that middle, and that's probably what Elaine Brown's going to be talking about with her team. And you can see coaching staff at the top end of the court as Elaine Brown's actually just working out her rotation. So one of the assistant coaches, I believe that's Stephen Stephen McCown, just talking to the team and probably talking about that block defense, especially through the middle attack, and trying to force the ball to go a little bit wider. Yeah,
absolutely. And like we said, this is something Durham really capitalized on in the third set there, and being able to score so many points off, especially Cosarini, and you know, just being able to, I think Leeds will have to try to find a way to stop that offense, because it's, yeah, it's quite lethal.
And as for Leeds, obviously on the flip end, on the attack, we know a lot of balls going to Ava Borrowdale, but how important is it now that they can put a little bit more service pressure on this back line? That's where they had success in set number 2. Really, Durham's offense wasn't quite there because they felt the pressure on that serve.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, the story of the second, it was a flip story, really. Yeah, so Leeds are going to want to have to put that service pressure to get Durham out of system, you know, to, you know, force their wing diggers to, wing spikers rather, to make that play, and yeah, just kind of keep the middles out of the play.
As set number 3 will be, sorry, set number 4, I believe it'll be Durham to serve, if I am correct, as they are going with Stanton, Daly, Belmontes, Sina, Lesko, and who else is on there? Oh, Kutry and Leeds going back to the lineup we've seen the most of the game. So Vargas back in, along with Owagbo, Tempest, Van Essen, Borrowdale, who gets the kill, and Kalanova as the libero, as Ava Borrowdale, point number 1 on the cross-court attack.
Yeah, and again, Borrowdale's coming in clutch, finding that space between the outside and the libero.
Sina tried to pull off the net to help Belmontes, but didn't quite get deep enough, and she'll go line and beat Vargas. And a strong swing, and this is what Durham wanted, is to see the outsides going. An early interesting rotation by Durham, starting with Cosarini on the bench, but rotating her in on first point. So you go early with the libero change. So Belmonte's off, and Lesko replays the idea with a long serve that is way out off the back of the court.
Here's Borrowdale there to serve. Ooh.
Daly misplays it.
Ooh.
A diving attempt to keep it alive, but into her own bench. Luckily, no chairs, no benches in the way at all. Just her teammates helping cushion the fall, but Ava Borrowdale's caused this Durham receive unit some issues all day on serve. Can she do it again? This time she's going to go straight at Belmontes, off the knees. Kutry into the block and into the referee's stand. And a big side out, second time of asking for the Palatinates.
Yeah, I think you just see as well that versatility with the Durham receive, you know, having Kutri peel back to receive and then attack immediately.
Van Essen back set, squeezed through the block, but Daly able to get that overpass. Stanton does a really good job. And Ragbo, second time asking again, finds the cross-court angle.
Again, it's just coming constantly back again to perfection, and with that, you know, really finds that cross and that space between, even with two blockers coming in, the timing of that shot.
As the ball, that was probably going to go on the line, so played it, but into the block, and unfortunately not enough downward trajectory on it. I think it was Vargas that got a hand to it, but she was lined up.
Yeah, just again, using that high hands and just hitting off the block.
You see a bit of a change with Van Essen on court as well, so the sisters playing with each other again, as tight at the net, and Stanton can't quite force it over. So both Sarah and Molly now on court for Leeds.
Here's perfection back to serve for Leeds.
Again, going at Belmonte's nice high ball. Cosarini with a rare mistake. And she finds net. And Leeds, as they did early in set number 3, starting out strong. Suddenly already into a 3-point lead as they try and force a 5th set here at the Ruth Gorse Academy here on Super League Live. And Daly, another serve, receive error, and Paul Welsh immediately asks for timeout.
Yeah, and again, like we mentioned, keeping that service pressure from Leeds, and again, targeting Daly on that pass, and especially with her being the front row outside right now, taking her out of the pass means she's slower to attack.
Indeed, and obviously, again, with the rotation, with Durham being so middle heavy right now, obviously we've seen a little bit more from the outsides and opposites from Durham in the set 3, set 4, but you can really slow that down. It's going to force that attacking unit to step up.
And we see with that earlier from Cosarini into the net, you know, the set was a bit off the net, and I think that's what Leeds are going to try to keep Durham doing. Again, here targeting Daly.
Oh, mistimed, a rare mistake with Stanton and Cosarini. Haven't seen many of those as they tried to go middle, and that one, nothing Cosarini can do. And it's a 5-point Leeds lead. And the crowd remaining engaged. Net Belmonte with a ridiculous pickup, but unfortunately Stanton couldn't back it up either. But that would have been one of the pickups of the year by Caroline Belmontes, as a change with Stanton gonna take a breather. And Alexa Curter, the setter out of Eckerd College in Florida, in for Durham. Got a really experienced setter with this Durham team as well, having started the season as an overpass, and the ball hits the net tape, and that net touch probably was the thing that caused the ball to go out. Just had a little bit more on it.
Again, that lucky touch of the net from the Leeds side.
I don't know what they've done to the net. Is it possible to have an illegal net tape? Just on which side are we? We'll have a little bit more balance as Rugbo tries to go line but finds the net.
Yeah, that was her fifth serve in a row, sorry. You know, just really keeping that service pressure, and looked like she was going short for that one, but just not quite trickling to the other side of the net.
So Cosarini on the service line, mistake by Borrell. Van Essen, that was just about in play and finished off by Durham. That was a great job by Leeds.
Yeah,
Durham,
just incredible for them to keep that back, and especially there to keep it on the inside of the antenna. And as far as she gone, Durham were able to find that space that she has left.
And
And she's here back again, but this time.
long. Yeah, missed it, but Curto, it was important coming off the bench as well, able to immediately change it up. We haven't seen Stanton really go for many kills from the set position, but Curto obviously came in and got one on pretty much her first touch. As Leeds try and set it down, Van Essen to Van Essen. Not quite the timing there between the twins, but Leeds able to set it up. Jump set, Sinar. Kutri from the back line. Another longer rally. Block, touch. Borodale from the pipe. Wins it, Cosarini. And Sinar neither could get to it. And huge by Ava Borodale.
And again, just that space. The block covered the left-hand side, and both players crashed, but it was too much power, too much speed from Borodale there.
Daly.
Ooh, and the
Slide for Lesko into the net. And Durham not quite at the races in set number 4. They trail 12 points to 6. And it'll be Farkas back to serve. She's done a great job off the bench for Leeds today. But Daly can't find that kill. Wide open, Borodale, and over the setter. That is a dream matchup, and no mistake made by the kills leaguer in the Mari Women's Super League.
that single block on the side covering the line, but Borodale goes for the cross, and it's ooh, an ace from Farkas. Just again trickles over the net, and Durham calls a timeout.
Yeah, much needed. Whatever that net tape is, I don't know, but Leeds have definitely got it, and the momentum has completely shifted once again. The home crowd loving what they're seeing from this Leeds team in a huge game, as 2, 4 and 3 teams trying to get their way into the top 4 and challenge a London Lionhearts, who we'll see in about an hour's time. As second timeout of that set by Durham. So Paul Welsh, nothing to do, and I wonder at some point if we see some changes and start preparing for set number 5. Obviously we've got Stanton on the bench already right now. As Daly again pulling off the net, and a miss hit on the swing, and that will be the change indeed. She's going to take a break, and in for the first time today wearing number 1 is Jennifer Lumsden, Mexican. We'll get her day underway, and she'll immediately have a chance. Tips, Borodale, oh, tried to dig it out, but over the net, but also out of court.
Yeah.
And a sub for Leeds as Farkas and Ganero trading places.
Instant impact there from Lumsden. Goes for the smart play as Sinar fixes the rotation errors in the front row.
As Kutra back to serve her first serve. One of the better servers on this Durham team. So I mean, they do lose a little bit with Stanton coming in to set. As into the block, then a huge swing, and you can see how fired up Lumsden is. Her 9th kill of the season, and an immediate impact. As Kalinova, perfect pass. Borodale, high and mighty leap, and she again finds the cross-court angle.
Yeah, again, Leeds going to Borodale there. And the block's gone up closer to the line, but she's gone for the cross, and Belmontes couldn't get it to face the court.
A little bit tight, but could able to get there, and Lumsden just misses the end line. And Leeds lead by 9. As Sarah back to serve. Again, Leeds have done a good job rotating the whole, feels like the whole squad in today, giving everyone an opportunity to try and find a lineup as Molly tries to find the kill off an odd angle into the block, and Lesko able to recognise the defence wasn't ready, and she goes over early and finds the kill. Great awareness by Ali Lesko.
Yeah, very cheeky play over there, but great vision for her to see that gap between, uses that play as it comes back over, catching the Leeds defense scrambling.
Lumsden off the net tape, and Tempest nearly got there on the cover but couldn't quite. And a couple of quick points, the Durham bench away to our left celebrate the ace.
And here she is now, behind the service line.
Third ace on the season for Lumsden. Tempest into the block of Sinar, recycle Borrowdale. Great play by Sinar to come off and make the dig, but unfortunately couldn't quite control it enough, over and out.
Wow. Again, just that swing from the height that they've isolated the whole Leeds offense at Borrowdale there with the cheeky play, pretending to go but leaving her hands out. Ooh, and a great floater here from Van Essen.
Yeah, Belmonte scrambled and big block. Durham run into 2, and I think it was Uragbo that finished it. We'll have a look at it again. As Uragbo and Tempest got there together, and indeed it was that left hand closing the angle. And we haven't seen much from the Leeds blockers today, but that's a big one for momentum as they try and claw into set 5, as Durham again not quite on sync. Over on the first touch by Kutri. And that's a really smart swing by Perfection. Looked like she was set to go cross court and rolled her hand around it late and found the gap in the blockers. Again, more subs for Durham as Stanton back in. Looks like a little bit of a front row, back row rotation, as Lumsden also out with Daly coming in as Leeds rampant in set 4, and we get ready by the looks of it to go set 5 for the first time here on Super League Alive.
Ooh.
As Lesko off the hands.
Yeah, and a very smart play there. Just, couldn't quite catch the timing, but using the high hands once again to, catch the defenders in their step.
Gennaro plays it. I think that was going to go wide, but it doesn't matter. That's a perfect side out. Great set, great swing. And we will get to see that once more. Again, that Durham block just go missing. There was, if I had gone short on it, Tempest would have got a wide open net. But the Rugbo, no mistake against a single block as Borrowdale gets Sinar scrambling. Kosurini's going to have to put it over. Little bit tight. Tempest tries to go angle. Dug out by Stanton. And Tempest goes off pace. Beats Stanton.
Yeah, and she just goes for that spot once again. Couldn't catch her out the first time, but the second time she makes no mistake. And we see here again Durham scrambling off the defense and finding it a bit more difficult to kind of really construct that offense.
Again, off pace going, and you can see a little bit of frustration on the Leeds bench, just a little bit flat-footed and not quite anticipating off speed. And again, for now, Durham, we know we're going to be going to 5 at this point as Regal checks back in for Durham.
Yep.
And it's just about getting some momentum and being ready for that. You don't really want to lose to set 25-12, 25-13. Can you get to 17-18 and just try and flip and quiet down this Leeds crowd as Ganero into the block. Recycle ball. Tempest is going to have to set from the middle, and that goes a little bit long. So, again, these are the points that are crucial for Durham. Not necessarily winning the set, but just to establish themselves ahead of set number 5.
Yeah, just to build that a little bit of that momentum, finishing strong. And we see Rigo here coming on as the defensive specialist for the opposite Kutri.
And also server as Belmontes, who feels like she's not seen a lot of ball in set number 4. Digs it out and killed off by Sina. And a couple of quick points for the Palatinates. Get your thoughts in the comments as well ahead of set number 5. We want to see what you're thinking. We'll talk about it in a few minutes' time, so let us know where you think this game is heading, as the serve by Regal ever so slightly long. Good lead by Kalanova. And it'll be Holly Tempest back to serve for Leeds. 2 points away, and she gets the ace. Another net roll, and Leeds won't matter how it comes, and this crowd enjoying what they're seeing from their Leeds Gorse side.
And here's match point, no, set point for Leeds. Oh,
that won't be one, as the antennae is whacked by Tempest. But if you're going to miss-hit a serve, probably doing it up 10 set points is possibly an okay time.
Yeah, and to be fair, this set Leeds have really been keeping up their service pressure, you know, making it really hard for
and the Wagbo with the push. She gives a little finger shake to the Durham block saying, don't expect that. I don't know if we'll see that on the replay. Just keep an eye on it after the point. Just there, she gives a little shake.
Yeah,
she is fired up, and we are going 5.
Cheeky play, a 5-set thriller in a battle between the purples. Here we see the captains, both number 9s, going for the toss.
Leeds won it, I believe. Not quite sure what the outcome was. I want to say, and my lip reading isn't perfect, I want to say Ganero said receive. We will find out in a few minutes.
Receive. Would be an interesting tactic, you know, trying to get that first chance to attack, and obviously Leeds have been on a rampant momentum shift this 4th set, and we've seen, quite interestingly, every team on the far side of this court has won. And what are some of your keys for the fifth set, Michael?
I think Durham, it'll be interesting to see where you go with the rotation, because obviously you're going to want to plan for Cosarini being in that front row late in the game. You don't want her to be sat on the bench. So where do you put her in the rotation to maximise her effectiveness will be massive. And I think for Leeds, we talked about a little bit, obviously trying to keep her quiet, but can you now do a good job of distributing the ball and isolating single blockers? Because that's where Leeds have had success. Borrowdale's had times where in set number 4 we saw her go against a setter on a one-on-one matchup at the net. We know she's going to win that every time. So can you diversify your offense and keep Durham out of being able to really set up the blocks and go? And obviously, the simple thing every coach talks about, make teams win points. You don't want errors in set number 5 in a race to 15, because they tally up ever so quickly.
Absolutely. If there's any set to start fast, it's going to be the 5th set where it only goes to 15. And I think we see that with Leeds the last set. We've obviously mentioned trying to keep the service pressure. 7 aces from Leeds in that last set, and really kind of isolated the middles, not, you know, keeping Durham out of system, making them work hard to set up that play. Whereas I think on Durham's side, you see the flip side of it. And Leeds are really using those 2 wind spikers, especially Borrowdale there and Ua Boy there on the 2 wings, you know, opposite and outside. Really just having that, as you mentioned, Michael, that singular block there and going for that shot.
And reminder, both these sides in 5th and 6th place before today. Both teams with identical records in the league. Obviously, they're going to split the points today, but this set is huge because Durham have won a couple of close games and Leeds have lost a couple of close. So right now it's a 3-point difference in the league standings. It's immediately a slide. Tempest picks out Stanton. So Durham out of system. Kutri, little hand on the block. Borodale from off court goes at Belmontes. Backcourt pipe blocked by Tempest, but not blocked in the right direction. And Durham win point number 1.
Yeah, again, seeing lots of good effective plays from both teams, and yeah, that pipe, you know, having spread out their offense so well, Durham are able to find the first point of the game.
And a little bit of Super League news will bring you in a second as Borodale goes cross court over the double, and Elaine Brown is fired up.
Let's see that again. That was, again, you know, using lots of decoys and being able to isolate Borodale on that one side going for the cross.
As Van Essen back on the service line, she's done a really good job distributing this Durham offense today. As Daly into the block, we said Durham were going to go middle. This time they go wide, but Leeds able to sit on it and get a huge block kill.
And if we see that again, you know, taking them out of system, going for the outsides, and the double block there just takes away the whole cross.
And that's why we selected as player to watch for the game, as Van Essen service error, and this brings Cosarini into the front row. This is what we thought. Where would Paul Welsh, Ross Enfield put her in the rotation? It's at 2-all. She gets to see the court for the first time. Kalanova, perfect. Single block. Cosarini gets there late and a hand to it, but Durham can't recycle, and Leeds go 3-2 up as they try to do the double. First result of the day is in the Men's Super League. Durham Palatinates win on the road 3-0 against Richmond. So the women trying to complete a double day here at Leeds Gorse.
Ooh.
And well left by Sina. And we are 3 points apiece.
Yep, and just back to the point, you know, trying to minimize those errors, especially early on. 2 of Durham's points have come from Leeds' service errors, so. Ooh, great pickup there by Sinar from the back. And Belmont
given up. Back set. Awagbo is into the block, but finds the kill. Cosarini couldn't quite press enough on it. It looked like she was going to be perfectly timed for it, but the youngster stepping up in a big way for Leeds. As Tempest goes line again. Cosarini finds the gap with the blockers.
A return of that again, you know, giving them the chance to attack through the middle. The 2 blockers just coming in a bit slowly. Couldn't quite form that big block in front of her.
Van Essen.
Oh.
Goes. Changing angle. Belmontes has started to step in and Daly couldn't get back behind and cover the libero. And that's a huge decision and really smart play. Just watch Belmontes step in, and there she sees it and goes line.
Yeah, really, you know, having hit a couple of crosses, she's gone for the, you know, the precision there. And, you know, both the libero and the outside she is slightly towards the right, and she finds that spot, you know, too far in the deep corner for the outsides to reach.
As a little bit of break and play, make sure the floor's nice and dry. And Cosarini, we said Durham were going to want to go middle, and that is why. And she wins the point. It goes back to serve.
And just look at that tempo on that play. That was perfectly executed. You know, the middle Van Essen Hughes goes out for the setter, who's in the front And yeah, Cosarini takes that gap. And
Gennaro, great pass. Lesko couldn't quite squeeze enough, but it's a recycled possession. Borrowdale can't make the dig, and a big point for Durham. They take a 6-5 lead, and obviously they want to win as many points on this rotation and keep Cosarini on the court for as long as possible.
And here she is back behind the service line.
Another great set. Borrowdale from the back. Daly
Oh.
digs it out, but only into the roof. And 6 points apiece. As we are setting up one of the games of the season in the Mari Women's Super League. These sides will meet again, but not till late in the season. That game in the Northeast due on March the 8th at the back end of the season. As Gennaro, big serve, good set by Stan, and Kalanova able to get there. So Borrowdale, no, digging that out. Belmontes was in good position, but the Durham Sina was far too close to the net and needed to come off to make the play.
And here we're just going to see that again. Again, just kind of isolating the offense on that side from the Leeds perspective. Ooh!
Leeds and Daly leaves it, but the ball hits the baseline. Signal is, ball is in. That's an ace and an 8-6 lead. 8-6 Leeds lead change. There's a mouthful for you on a Sunday afternoon as we switch ends of the court.
And this set, it's been so tight, but even then we've seen a few momentum shifts. You know, Durham scores 2 in a row, now Leeds coming back with 3, and it's going to be whoever can keep that pressure out, can slide out the quickest, and yeah, minimize those mistakes.
Gennaro, tight, joust at the net, won by Durham, but not for a kill. Hit by Borrowdale, that's outrageous! Ava Borrowdale at a big moment coming through for her team. The 26-year-old, what a play this is.
And we see that replay with that joust, you know, coming. You know, credit to Leeds for Borrowdale, for Gennaro to kind of stay within the play, to set that up and to, you know, find that gap in their defense right in the middle in the donut and, you know, exploit the Durham defense in that way. And it looks like they're checking their server.
Yeah, you don't want to make a rotation error down 9-6 in the 5th.
They're in rotation 2, the second referee says.
Yep, know who's where.
Yep. And it's quite interesting that Kutri, the opposite, has pulled out back into the receive as they've done and put up the service pressure. Gennaro just goes back, goes too far back. We're now 7-9. Durham to serve. Oh.
Change on it. Tip by the sister. They look at each other and go, need to get that one over the net, please. And the service change working for Durham. They brought Lumsden in to serve. She had a little bit of an impact off the bench in set 4. Hadn't played until then. Kalanova, Borrowdale, Belmontes with the dig. Ooh. And a huge wing picked up by Gennaro down the line.
Oh.
Joust keeps it alive. That's going to be a free ball. In fact, they're going to call 4 touches. Oh, no, they're going to call a double touch on Kalanova, in fact. I thought they were going to call 4, but it's 2. And Leeds are going to talk it over. 9 points apiece. Set number 5. Elaine Brown just wants to slow it down. Anyone's guess who wins this game still.
Yeah, it's so tight, and both teams have been, you know, making those plays, but then again, it's those mistakes at the end that you don't want to keep making. You don't want to give the other team 3 points. And, you know, being 9-9, 6 points for each team to get to 15, they're going to want to, you know, fix everything up and try to attack as much as they can.
Those of you in the are watching the live stream, let us know who is going to win this game. We still do not know here in Leeds. Reminder, after this, we'll take about a 15-minute break. But then we have Dark Star Derbyshire taking on London Lionhearts as Borrowdale. No mistake. And double sub once again coming for Durham.
Wow. Just going for her, you know, that high attack from the back, and Durham just caught a bit flat-footed back there, finding that gap right in front. And here's...
So Durham getting back to their original 6, plus obviously Cosarini as the middle, who is off at the moment, but isn't far away from returning. Belmontes will rotate out in a couple of points. As cross-court angle found. Big swing, a big time. Once again, Sina, who was started really slow in this game, but has really grown, especially in set 3, had a couple of big ones, and she'll now go back to serve, apologies. And she just needs to get ball in play. She's got a high error rate, so important for her right now, and she does. Borrowdale, she's the one she goes to. Aragbo, cross-court, dug out. That's going to be kept alive. Be a free ball. Ganero. Van Essen, cross to Borrowdale. Lesko was trying to help with the cover on the block, but Borrowdale is taking over in set number 5.
Yeah, and again, just that high set, you know, they've got 2 blockers there, but behind, she just finds that spot right in front of Sinar every time. Ooh, and a great pickup
high receive. And big swing, but long by Daly, and Paul Welsh immediately goes timeout. And Leeds' lead is 12-10. They are 3 points away from winning the match. And Durham got the ball they wanted. Daly was a high pass, but in rhythm, in time. Unfortunately, she just goes a little bit long. And Durham really need to get a side out here and try and get Cosarini back onto court. If you're Durham, obviously with no Cosarini, where do you think they're going to try and get this point?
Yeah, they've tried to go from the wings, haven't they? And it's been a bit difficult. We've got that kill from Sinar number 8 earlier, but you know, just a few attacking errors, and they're gonna really want to be able to keep up that pressure and not make the mistakes and not giving Leeds the free points.
And that's what Leeds have done well. They've not made errors in set 5.
Ooh, out of system.
Stanton coming a long way, but Daly finds the back line. Kalanova was sprawling to her right, and again changes, and here comes Cosarini. Be a serving sub as well, with Regal coming in for Lesko.
Just really getting that, you know, that defense in the back row, and that
I think that's 5 changes for Durham. Indeed it is. So Paul Welsh using everything in his arsenal to try and help claw his Durham side to victory. Regal goes line, going at Ganero. And the swing is along, and we are tied 12 each. Good timeout by Durham.
Wow, both teams really going neck and neck in this set, and here's Regal again behind the service line.
Will she go line, or will we see a change? Borrowdale steps up into the unit, and that's not a great pass. Durham will have a chance. Into the block, but it is wide. And Durham 3 straight points. They take a 13-12 lead, and Elaine Brown's going to use her second and final timeout. And Durham are hyped up right now. So we see them enter the huddle. That momentum shift. Great substitutions as well, but obviously getting Cosarini in is important. And as for Leeds, you can see Elaine Brown having a word separately with Perfection Arugbo, and trying to set her up and give her some confidence, try and close out this game in what has been not the tightest of games in terms of sets. Remind it was 20, Durham won the first 25-20, then Leeds 25-17, Durham 25-21, and then Leeds 25-15. But it's been a highly competitive game as Borrowdale misses the swing, and Durham have 2 match points. No tip. That was a... Oh, no, they have given a tip. Late change. Oh, they call net touch.
Ooh.
Elaine Brown wanted a tip. I looked left to see what her reaction was. They gave a net touch. I think it must have been on Cosarini. And we are, instead of match points, we are 13 apiece. That is a huge break for Leeds because that ball was well wide. And Borrowdale, who we talked about having service runs, has now headed back to the service line. She'll go float right at Belmontes. Perfect pass. Cosarini, open net, doesn't get the kill. Borrowdale, pipe.
Both liberos making big plays in this. Oh,
Veneson can't make the dig. And Leeds will have match point number 1. Putri with the big swing, the American, in her first year with the club. And she will go back to serve. Match point Durham.
right at the libero.
Kalanova low. Aragbo can only push it. Durham are going to have a set. There they go middle. Cosarini into the block and Durham win. Claire Cosarini has been huge. And she finishes it off on the middle swing. And Durham, a huge victory, 15-13 in set number 5.
Wow. What a thrilling end to the game. It's just been neck and neck, you know, these two teams both, you know, searching for a big win against, they're in the middle of the table, and really just big play after big play from both teams. Who's your player of the match, Michael?
Well, I'm going to keep you guessing just a little bit because what we're instead going to do, we'll keep the suspense and we're going to pull them upstairs and get their reaction in a minute or 2. Reminder, stay with us for that. We'll get the reaction from the winning side and the Durham camp and then rejoin us in about 15-20 minutes time and we'll be live for game number 2, Dark Star Derbyshire versus London Lionhearts. Lionhearts, the team both Durham and Leeds are chasing for a spot in the top 4 at Christmas. But what an enthralling game that was, and a side that either team could have won. Cool. As we're gonna go bring our player of the game in for thoughts, but a huge win for Durham in the league standings. They go to 5-3, but this is where obviously it gets interesting. 5-3, but only 13 points. Leeds Gorse now 4-4, but 15 points. They jump Essex Rebels in the league table, having played 2 games more, but Rebels have a tough game today at Mallory. That game later on this afternoon, so Leeds might still be top 4 come the end of the game with that 1 point. We'll see how that tie-break between Leeds and Essex work, as you see the referees and the Leeds huddle just coming over, as Paul Welsh congratulates his team, and we'll get our player of the game to come up here to the commentary booth, as a couple of exchanges obviously with Alice Brand, the former Durham player, coming up to the booth, and obviously seeing some of her old teammates. Nice for Alice, obviously a long-time Durham University graduate, to get her thoughts and see her old team pull out a victory here at Super League Live. As Durham, a lot of high fives, and you can see how important it is as Durham coaches chatting it over with the Dark Star coaches as well here in Leeds. A big momentum shift for Durham. Their next game will be next weekend as they head on the road, and for Leeds they will take on Cambridge at home here at the Ruth Gorse Academy, and that game is next Saturday, as we just get everything set to bring you post-game reaction here in the Mari Women's Super League. Final score for those of you just joining us was 20-25, 25-17, 21-25 25-15, and then Durham closing it out 13 points to 15 as we just get set to bring you post-game reaction here from the Roof Gorse Academy. And I'm now joined by our player of the game, Claire. Huge victory for the team. Just talk about the emotions of that 5-set thriller.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely really nice, like a really good team win to pull that one out. I think it could have gone either way for a little while there, but I think sticking with it the whole time really allowed us to pull it out at the end.
And I'm sure you put the coaching staff through the emotions,
Yeah.
obviously set 4 in particular, not quite the momentum, but how nice is it now to start to be healthy at last and just start to piece this team together?
Yeah, exactly. I think we've been dealing with some injuries, which is always tough, and then obviously a new group together takes a little time to gel, but I think we're really starting to hit our stride, and we know where our areas of improvement are, so that's really been nice to get focusing on that training.
And obviously, set a change coming in with Malaya obviously coming back into lineup, but it looked like she's been training with you, but that synergy, especially for you in the middles, definitely come through.
Yeah, I think that it's come a long way for sure, and having her in training is a huge help just with our numbers and the energy and the skill she brings. So yeah, it's been awesome having her, and we're excited to keep working on the connections with all the hitters and her.
And obviously, I know every game's important in Super League, but obviously the ambition is coming in, repeating as champions, and this win's a huge step for you going towards the Christmas break.
Yeah, definitely. It's always nice finishing out this first half of the season kind of on a high, so we kind of want to keep the momentum going. So yeah, definitely nice to get that one taken care of today.
And obviously the team aspect, you talked about it. Just talk about the defensive play, though, of Caroline in the back row.
Oh, yeah.
She just felt like she was just making plays and just gave you those extra balls to attack.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge having her back there. We trust her so much that it translates to the block defense too. So, I mean, yeah, definitely a huge component to being able to block and then continue plays, especially when you're playing against such strong attackers.
Well, we'll let you go, but congratulations. A huge
Thank you so
victory for
much.
your side and jump ahead of Leeds in the standings. That is your player of the game, Claire Casarini from Durham, and we'll take a quick break and be ready. Dark Star and Lionhearts on deck here from Leeds Gorse Academy.